Do all interpret? Well, the answer is no. But earnestly desire the best gifts, and yet I show you a more excellent way. And then we go from chapter 12 to chapter 13, or what we called from chapter 12 to chapter 13, and there is what is known as the Pauline excursus, the Pauline parenthetical. So there is a parenthetical that is chapter 13. Now, chapter 13 is inspired. It needs to be in the Bible. But if it were not there, it wouldn't change the message of what Paul is saying to the Corinthians. Because you would go from chapter 12, verse 31 to chapter 14, verse 1. So, and yet, well, let me do this. But earnestly desire the best gifts, and yet I show you a more excellent way. And then chapter 14, verse 1, pursue love and desire spiritual gifts, but especially that you may prophesy. Folks, that's the better way. Pursue love, make love the standard, but if you're going to desire spiritual gifts, the best spiritual gift to desire is prophecy, not tongues. Why? Because prophecy is unselfish. Prophecy edifies the church. Tongues, well, it's for the unbeliever. And you can put a feather in your hat getting an unbeliever to conversion. That's great. But if you want to build the church up, if you want to strengthen the church, if you want to pour cement to the foundation and make the church where you are unmovable, learn to prophesy. Desire the spiritual gift of prophecy. I'm getting ahead of myself. There is a 21st century analog to prophecy. And it's preaching, by the way. We're going to lay the foundation for that. But let's look at verse of chapter 13. So Paul says, yet I show you a more excellent way. Now, this is the most excellent way, which is love. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am become a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, but I have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not love, it profits me nothing. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never fails, but whether there are prophecies, they will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. That means the church functions out of those individual parts, those spiritual gifts. That happened in the first century. For now, we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. Folks, that's talking about our closed canon of Scripture. Don't let anybody fool you and think that the Catholic Church come up with a canon of Scripture. We knew about the canon of Scripture. The people in the first century, they knew what was Scripture and what wasn't. And very, 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 very early on, we had an accepted canon of Scripture hundreds of years before the so-called Catholic Church started messing with it. All right, but when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. So those spiritual gifts are going to be done away with. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. The infancy stage of the church was the age of miracles. A lot of folks lament the passing of the age of miracles. And they say, well, if we could do miracles today, look how many people we could save.